I think it's important for businesses to understand that, whatever legal framework, whatever regulatory framework is in place in a country, that is, for the country. I think what tends to happen is that with the multi-party democratic dispensations in Africa now, I think what tends to happen is that each time there might be a change in government, businesses think there's an opportunity to renegotiate whatever agreements, whatever structures were in place with the previous government. And you might find that the whole cycle of negotiating incentives starts. I think that it's important that there is continuity right across, that businesses do not become opportunistic to try to renegotiate incentives because there's a new government in place.
Negotiations often come hand in hand with the bribing of government officials. To what extent is this constant renegotiating of government policies due to this very high level of corruption that we see in Africa?
Absolutely true. I think some businesses, when there's a new government in power, might see an opportunity to go in and sort of change whatever incentive agreements they had in place for the better for them. And they may see an opportunity to go in and, get an official here and there, receive some gratification so that, this change could be effected. So yes, I think some businesses see a window or opportunity to go in and try to influence, policy or regulation in their favor. And I think that's not good for business. I think that gives business a very bad name across Africa. I mean, when people talk about corruption in Africa, it's not as if the Africans corrupt themselves. It's not as if the governments corrupt themselves. There's always somebody that's taking a chance to think that if they gratify somebody in the structures among the powers that be, that they could get things influenced in their favor. And that's not good, obviously.
During the course of this conference, we've heard from countries with very forgiving tax policies for businesses that want to come inside those countries. What do you think is the reasonable level of tax incentives for potential foreign direct investments?
I'm of the view that large multinational corporations can by and large look after themselves, that they can engage in very elaborate, very sophisticated tax mitigation structures which would lessen their tax burden anyway. That if they've got much diversified footprint across the globe, they can even engage in some form of transfer pricing. So really, I struggle to think that a whole well-established multinational needs tax incentives to come and invest in a country. That's number one. But number two, when the same country forgoes tax revenue through these tax incentives, it ends up depending on donor aid to be able to balance its fiscus. Now, you've got to ask the question, is it better to actually give the so-called incentives and then be looking to have the gap filled with donor aid, or should full tax be paid by corporations so that budgets are always balanced? And if incentives are given, maybe they should be negotiated with the DFIs and other entities that are providing aid. And in that way, I think you would have structures in place that would ensure that the incentives are indeed for stimulating investment, and that they are time bound, and that when they run out, they do indeed run out. I guess what I'm saying is that maybe it's a DFI that should give tax incentives for entities to come and invest, and the country should continue to collect the tax that's due to it. So, and then whatever tax mitigation structures multinationals put in place, I guess they get to be there.